Chapter 141, Shocking Everyone. What's going on? Why didn't those from the disciplinary team move at all? Have they gone stupid? Wrong. It isn't that they don't want to move. They cannot move. The disciplinary members of the clan that had always acted as they did, sweeping through everything in the clan, were now all standing dumbfoundedly like an immobile stone man. This bizarre scene instantly attracted the attention of everyone, inciting discussion. Why do the clan's disciplinary team seem as though they have been cursed? Could this be something this brat has done? Everyone stared in a bewildered manner, surveying Feng Lin, wanting to see through his secrets. What are you all doing? The head butler roared in rage upon seeing this strange scene. However, the members of the clan's disciplinary team simply couldn't move. They had become something like stones that had no reactions. Upon closer observation, he discovered that the expressions of the disciplinary clan members had frozen, but their eyeballs were revolving in their eye sockets in panic as though they were about to be frightened to death. What tricks have you pulled? The head butler's gaze turned sinister as he turned around and questioned Feng Lin. Feng Lin coldly laughed, disdained to say anything more. These disciplinary clan members might seem extremely ferocious to ordinary people in the clan. But at most, they were simply stronger cultivation apprentices. Given Feng Lin's current strength, if his opponent wasn't an elite cultivator, they wouldn't even have the qualifications to act against Feng Lin. A powerful wave of mental energy instantly radiated forth from him. It was sufficient to cause them all to have a nervous breakdown. They simply didn't even have the opportunity to act. This is mental suppression. The head butler had also awakened the mental gene. He exclaimed in shock after sensing this similar energy. Awakened. He roared, his hands forming the lion finger gesture, as waves of mental energy gushed forth from the head butler. His voice was so loud that even the deaf could hear it. His mental energy instantly shook the hearts of everyone, as he exuded an imposing aura. But a moment later, the expression of the head butler's face drastically changed. He felt as though his mental energy had rammed into a steel wall, resulting in an impact that caused a great rush of energy to instantly surge backward into his mind. Arg! The mental energy he had sent out was now attacking himself. He felt as though there was a blade embedded in his mind. The head butler instantly clutched his head and started to roll around the ground, screaming in agony. He could no longer maintain his strict demeanor and cold countenance. His expression was contorted by pain and agony, growing increasingly hideous. Didn't you like to radiate your might to scare people? How's the feeling now? Feng Lin coldly laughed in his heart. He didn't feel joy doing this. It felt pretty tasteless and dull. Once, the head butler caused him to feel great pressure. If he was able to avenge his previous humiliation, he in the past would feel extremely happy. But now, it felt insignificant because the head butler was truly way too weak. Although the head butler was an interstellar cultivator, his vitality stats didn't exceed 10 and his combat prowess was among the bottom feeders. The head butler wasn't even able to resist Feng Lin's mental energy. He was simply too weak. Defeating such an opponent, was there anything worth being happy about? Interstellar cultivator? The Feng clan's leader suddenly stood up from his seat. He felt anger due to the miserable situation of the head butler but was also shocked due to Feng Lin's strength. The head butler was ultimately the one who managed the internal affairs of the clan. Now that he was treated like that by someone, where did all the clan's laws go to? Since this Feng Lin was able to cause the head butler and the disciplinary team to suffer from the moment he showed his face, he definitely could be considered an absolute expert even among interstellar cultivators. Now that the Feng clan suddenly gained an interstellar cultivator that didn't follow the rules, the clan leader didn't feel happy or sad, joy or frustration. Spiritual type gene? The demonically handsome young man beside the clan leader just sat and observed this scene. He silently mumbled to himself. The previously lazy expression on his face was replaced with interest as he watched. "Isn't that Feng Lin?" Feng Leng's mouth was opened wide as astonishment appeared on his face. In the clan, he was the one who understood Feng Lin the most. Initially, when he had seen the head butler making things difficult for Feng Lin, he had been preparing to step in to smooth things out for Feng Lin. Who would have thought that Feng Lin's actions were so ruthless and decisive, settling the head butler and the disciplinary team's members in an instant? Was this still the Feng Lin from before that could be easily bullied by the head butler? The disparity between then and now was simply too great. Feng Lang even felt that he no longer recognized Feng Lin. Even Feng Lang felt this way. There was no need to mention about Feng Lin's parents. They were extremely clear about Feng Lin's strength in the past. How could their son, who was mediocre at best, suddenly become a supreme genius? This sudden joy caused them to feel so happy that they were dizzy. However, the joy soon faded away and turned into panic. They felt that this was an illusion. Feng Li and Feng Jinpeng, who were geniuses in the clan, felt vigilance in their hearts as they contemplated Feng Lin. They were all interstellar cultivators, but Feng Lin's bizarre methods caused them to feel extremely wary. Who is this Feng Lin? Where did he come from? He is so powerful, causing the head butler to suffer so badly in just an instant. But without the support of the clan, how did he become an interstellar cultivator? Feng Lin's sudden rise caused a bomb of commotion among the crowd, as everyone was discussing fervently. Many more in the crowd felt that this was almost inconceivable. At this moment, the head butler was still screaming in pain. The clan leader's expression sank. "Hurry up and take him away. What a disgrace." Another disciplinary team went over speedily and brought the head butler away. Feng Lin also casually retracted his mental energy. Those disciplinary team members, who were frozen, gradually slumped and fell onto the ground, completely devoid of strength. Puddles of urine could be seen beneath their feet. They were so frightened that they lost control completely. Before this, their mental states were completely suppressed by Feng Lin. It was simply too terrifying when they couldn't even control whether to die or not. When the new group of disciplinary members came over and saw their team members suffering, they only dared to rage silently but didn't dare to make a single sound of protest. They glared at Feng Lin silently and hurriedly brought their members away. "Feng Lin, you said that it's because you were assiduously cultivating in seclusion that you missed the ancestor-worshipping ceremony?" The clan leader stood on the platform and stared down at Feng Lin, his mouth pursed up in displeasure as he asked. The eyes of all the clansmen turned over, wanting to see how the clan leader would handle this young upstart. "That's right." Feng Lin faced the clan leader and replied in a manner that was neither servile nor overbearing. "In that case, have you already become an interstellar cultivator? What is your vitality stats?" The clan leader asked again, feeling extremely bewildered. It was due to him couldn't sense the vigorous life force of an interstellar cultivator radiating from Feng Lin. If it wasn't for Feng Lin displaying his brilliance earlier, he might even feel that Feng Lin was just a non-cultivator. He didn't know that Feng Lin had awakened the stone monkey gene, and his entire body was like a boulder, one with the universe. If Feng Lin didn't intentionally reveal his aura, no one would be able to discover anything. To the clan leader's question, Feng Lin released his restraints and revealed a hint of aura, allowing the clan leader to sense it. As for his vitality stats, it seemed like if he didn't reveal his cultivation, he wouldn't be able to gain respect. But how would Feng Lin be so silly to reveal his true strength? The clan leader could also tell what was going on. After sensing that aura, he didn't press on with his questions any further. He knew that even if he continued to press on, Feng Lin wouldn't answer him. Since this is the case, you can join the clan's ranking competition. As for you missing the ancestors' worshipping ceremony, we will pursue this incident after the ranking competition. The other clansmen almost fell over from shock. They didn't expect their clan leader, who had always been very strict about the clan's laws, would actually treat Feng Lin so leniently. Feng Lin nodded as this was not unexpected at all. Interstellar cultivators were considered the greatest wealth of a clan. Each of them was extremely important. Now that Feng Lin had displayed his potential, as long as the clan leader wasn't a fool, he would definitely give him a heavy recognition. How could someone that could become the clan leader be a fool? It was impossible. Feng Lin once again reported his name to the elder in charge. And as Feng Lin joined in, the ranking competition officially began. Since the number of participants was too much, the vast main hall was separated into 1,000 dueling platforms, and the battles started at the same time. Feng Lin's first opponent was a young man around 15 to 16 years of age. His face was filled with arrogance and his talent wasn't bad. His vitality stats had reached a total of 3.2. This young man stared at Feng Lin with jealousy. He stared right at him and called out his full name, "Feng Lin, don't assume you're impressive because of your earlier actions. Before me, Feng. Get the hell down." With regards to this opponent who hadn't even fully matured, Feng Lin couldn't be bothered to waste time talking to him. His mental energy instantly rushed forth, hypnotizing the will of this little brat. The little brat then walked down the dueling platform in a dumbstruck manner. The AI that was monitoring everything instantly had a result. It announced in a loud voice that reverberated throughout the Feng clan. Feng Lin, victory. Time taken, 10 seconds. Chapter 142, Insta-killed with a single glance. What? He won so quickly? He only took 10 seconds. Such a short time. Doesn't it mean that his opponent went down the dueling platform almost immediately after he went up? What a bizarre ability. How did this Feng Lin accomplish that exactly? If I'm not mistaken, he must have used mental hypnosis. Feng Lin's tyrannical performance caused an exclamation of shock. Furthermore, those who had the ambition to become the champion all treated Feng Lin as a formidable opponent now. This mental hypnosis, once they were under it, they would have no way to resist at all. It was simply too sinister. Eh? Why am I down here? That little brat had a stupefied look on his face. He didn't know what had just happened and instantly broke into tears. He was insta-killed by a single glance. Wasn't this loss a little too shameful? Feng Lin already walked far away while shaking his head, waiting for the next round of battle to commence. Through this competition, he could also see the strength of the Feng clan. Even a little brat had vitality stats above 3.0. What does Zhao Kai, the genius of his class, count for? Zhao Kai was simply trash. Before this, he had been suppressed by such trash like Zhao Kai. Now when Feng Lin thought about it, he also felt a little speechless at how weak he had been. Feng Lin, well done. Gaining victory so easily in your first battle. Feng Lang walked over. Feng Lang was, at the very least, considered to be half a friend to him in this entire clan. Hence, Feng Lin nodded to him in response. Feng Lin, is the arrangement between us back then still effective? During these days, the head butler kept pressuring your family, wanting to punish them. I was the one who helped starve him off. Now that your wishes have been accomplished, isn't it about time you fulfill our arrangements? Next, I hope that you would help me deal with the Feng Lang. Upon seeing Feng Lin's great increase in strength, couldn't help but being slightly impatient as he spoke. No need to say anything more. Feng Lin stretched out his hand in the stop sign, signaling Feng Lang to stop talking. Are you reneging on your promise? Feng Lang's expression sank, turning extremely unsightly. When did I do so? Feng Lin cast a deep glance at him. He calmly continued, no need for the name list. Since I've already joined the ranking competition, as long as those people meet me, I will instantly crush them. Hence, there's no need for you to worry about this or tell me the list of names. Feng Lang's mouth was wide open. He didn't expect to receive such an answer. Wasn't this Feng Lin a little too arrogant? His tone sounded as though he didn't have anyone in the entire Feng clan in his eyes at all. Feng Lang wanted to say something more, but when he glanced at Feng Lin's expression and the remnant waves of mental suppression aura on the dueling platform, he stopped talking. Staring at Feng Lin's face, it didn't seem like Feng Lin was joking. Feng Lang couldn't help but scream in his heart. Feng Lin is for real. What level has Feng Lin's strength reached exactly? Feng Lin didn't care about his shock. He continued on his way, walking toward his parents. Feng Lin? His parents spoke hesitantly, not daring to recognize him. They didn't dare to believe that this young man who displayed his divine might before the entire clan was their eldest son who had never shown the slightest bit of talent since he was young. Right now, they were still in a dumbstruck state. Elder brother. Only Feng Cheng and Feng Xian, his little brother and sister, greeted him in a simple-minded manner. Their faces were full of pride as they rushed toward Feng Lin's embrace. Feng Lin patted their heads. Upon seeing his parents not dare to come over to greet him, he couldn't help but sigh in his heart. In this lifetime, his parents were just ordinary folks. They didn't have any great ambitions at all, or it was impossible for them to not do anything when they were relegated to the bottommost layer of the clan. But other than sighing, he didn't know what he should do. Their greatest hope was that their children would work hard and awaken powerful mythological genes, gaining the recognition of the clan. From the start until the end, they had never thought of rebelling against the cruel rules of the clan. Naturally, not rebelling was one thing. But not even thinking about it was another. Feng Lin's growth was insane in this short period. This made them a little unable to accept it. Father, mother. Feng Lin took the initiative to greet them. His parents' tense body finally relaxed as they revealed smiles on their faces, confirming that this was indeed their son. Feng Lin was sighing in his heart. He could feel a formless barrier now between him and his family. Also, as he continued to cultivate, this sense of distance would grow larger and larger until a point where it was impossible for them to coexist together. Cultivation was originally a pathway that allowed one to transcend mortality. It was easy for one to transcend, but tough for the multitude of living things. When Feng Lin's vitality stats reached a higher level, his lifespan would be lengthened as well. He would become something completely different from ordinary humans, and the difference could be compared to a divine dragon flying through the 9 heavens and a snake crawling on the ground. It would be even tougher to communicate with them, and he would definitely outlive them. This was why cultivation was destined to be a lonely and cruel path. Only those with a temperament that was staunch enough and wouldn't feel regret would be able to walk on this path until the end. The future might be predicted, but Feng Lin felt no regrets in his heart. Because this was something he had chosen. Even if he had to die 9 times, he would feel no regret. Right now, numerous cold gazes stared at Feng Lin's family's moment of reunion. Strange looks appeared on their faces. They didn't know when was it that such a powerful character like Feng Lin had appeared in their clan. Now, the vitality stats of humans were stronger than ancient times, and their thinking was clearer as well. No one was a fool. They instantly managed to guess that there was a secret on Feng Lin's body, a very huge secret. As to how huge that secret was, no one knew. The interstellar space was so vast, there were all sorts of wondrous treasures, and countless people would be able to receive good fortune if they were lucky enough. For those who could become interstellar cultivators, Which one of them didn't have a few secrets? Unless the secret was revealed, and it was valuable enough to tempt the hearts of people, usually, no one would want to make a move recklessly. Next round, on dueling platform number 18, Feng Lin vs Feng Tao. The robotic voice of the AI sounded out. After such a long time had passed, Feng Lin was matched again with an opponent. "I'll go over first." Feng Lin nodded to his parents and moved in the direction of the dueling platform. "Be careful." His parents stood behind him, their hearts were filled with worry. Feng Lin smiled and nodded, telling them to set their hearts at ease. He truly didn't feel the need to be cautious at all. It wasn't that he was arrogant. It was just that through the journey of he had experienced too many dangerous situations. The situations he had gone through were just too much. All of these transformed into valuable experiences for him to draw upon, allowing him to reach a state of growth that ordinary humans would find it hard to imagine. To him, these so-called geniuses in his clan were nothing but beautiful flowers grown in the safety of a greenhouse by a gardener. They posed no threat to him at all. What he needed now was to settle the chaos with a show of force and quickly handle the troubles in his clan, as well as to better his family's situation. Next, he would do his best and take the college entrance exam. Feng Lin was very clear that his future path lay in the boundless starry sky. Only there would be a future for him. He felt very impatient and was not willing to wait any longer. This second opponent knew how strong Feng Lin was and didn't dare to provoke him with words. His face was filled with wariness. Light Shadow Fist. He punched out with both fists, unleashing a genetic martial art as his body glowed with light, wanting to dazzle Feng Lin's vision. His silhouette flashed, and from within the white light, a total of 10 silhouettes that were exactly similar to the original body rushed out from all directions, unleashing ruthless attacks. The duel just began and he decided to use his full strength, wanting to blast Feng Lin down from the dueling platform with his abrupt momentum. Feng Lin stood at his original location, calmly watching this scene. This was a good idea indeed, but it was still useless. His mental energy swept out, and he could instantly sense the illusionary energy that formed the other silhouettes. No matter how many clones his opponent had, there was only a single true body. Feng Lin's gaze turned deep, akin to a vortex of darkness that was able to devour all light. The mental ripples turned into something substantial and gushed forth, destroying the false bodies. "Get down," said Feng Lin. That opponent had a dumbfounded look on his face. He was already hypnotized by Feng Lin and walked down the dueling platform with no way to resist the order at all. This was equivalent to admitting defeat. Feng Lin, victory. Time taken, 15 seconds. Insta-killed by a single glance. It happened again. Chapter 143, There isn't even a single one who can fight? Feng Lin's opponent did all he could and manifested many clones of light and shadow to dazzle his vision. Sadly, it was useless to Feng Lin's mental energy that could penetrate everything. The light and shadow dissipated, and his opponent, who was hypnotized, walked down the dueling platform and only returned to his senses after a long time. At this moment, Feng Lin had already left. His opponent didn't say anything and could only depart in heavy spirits. This was a suppression due to an absolute disparity in strength, causing his opponent to feel true despair. It was like before a heavenly sent disaster, any plans and methods could only be a joke. Feng Lin, victory. Time taken, 15 seconds. Feng Lin once again insta-killed his opponent, inciting a wave of commotion. Very swiftly, the crowd soon discovered that this was merely the beginning. Feng Lin, victory. Time taken, 12 seconds. Another insta-kill with a single glance. Feng Lin, victory. Time taken, 10 seconds. Feng Lin's latest opponent just walked up to the platform and soon went down helplessly, conceding right away. Everything seemed like a joke. From the start to the end, Feng Lin didn't even launch a single attack. Not a single person was able to last past 15 seconds, as they were all instantly hypnotized and conceded. Too powerful. Although Feng Li and Feng Jinpeng were still on the battlefield and were also existences that were supreme geniuses, capable of defeating their opponents with a single move, Feng Lin still attracted the attention of many. The others had to launch attacks, and their opponents were able to either evade or defend against it. But Feng Lin merely needed a single glance to defeat his opponent. Just this point alone caused many to view him with fear and trepidation. Young Master Feng, what do you think of Feng Lin? The clan leader saw Feng Lin's tyrannical performance. His heart stirred and consulted the demonically handsome young man beside him. He's very powerful. The young man tilted his head and contemplated, before giving a high evaluation. What? The clan leader was shocked. He was very clear of this young Master Feng's origin. Young Master Feng's status was extremely esteemed, and to him, the cultivation standards here in the solar system could be considered so low that he didn't even want to glance at it. Yet, he actually gave Feng Lin such a high evaluation? Could it be that Feng Lin's strength was comparable to his? It appeared as though he guessed the clan leader's thoughts. The demonically handsome young man rolled his eyes and calmly spoke, "You are thinking too much. How can the bumpkins of this solar system be comparable to me? Although the solar system seems vast, it's still ultimately too tiny and inconsequential in the perspective of the entire universe. Other than this place being slightly special due to it being the origins of humans, there's no value here at all. You guys are trapped inside the solar system and can be treated as frogs at the bottom of a well, not knowing the vastness of the starry space and the strength of true geniuses, which most definitely exceeds your wildest imagination." I said this young man is very strong because he became an interstellar cultivator at the age of 17 and is considered very rare in your solar system. The others wouldn't be able to defeat him so easily, but that's just it. You must know that such standards in the interstellar space can at most be considered below average. Only those who can become elite cultivators by the age of 18 can be considered an impressive character. The young man sneered, mocking the delusion of the clan leader. Not only was the clan leader not angered, but he had a look on his face like as though it should be so. He then asked again, "Young Master Feng, in that case, can you evaluate Feng Lin's potential?" The demonically handsome young man surveyed Feng Lin. He thought about it a little before replied, "If I didn't judge wrongly, this Feng Lin should have awakened the mental gene and strengthened it to an extremely high level. Mental energy can control one's thoughts and consciousness, making him a terrifying opponent. Moreover, the mental energy of this Feng Lin is extremely powerful, and only those at the same level as him would have the ability to resist. For those who are weaker than him, they don't even have the strength to stand before him, let alone fighting him. As a unique aspect of cultivators that have awakened spiritual-type genes, their mental energy can instantly gush forth in a formless manner and hypnotize everyone, causing their opponents to lose even before they fight. There's a saying in the interstellar space, describing spiritual cultivators. Those who don't dare to look me in the eyes are all considered ants." He calmly spoke, analyzing and explaining the unique style in Feng Lin's combat style. The young man then continued, making another judgment. Mental gene is only a basic level gene. Since this Feng Lin can become an interstellar cultivator, he must have also awakened an extremely powerful primeval gene. The aura of his body is completely one with the universe. Maybe only a few individuals like Feng Li and Feng Jinpeng would be able to force him to display his true power. I see. The clan leader nodded repeatedly as though he was benefiting from a lecture. He activated the AI monitoring system and closely observed Feng Lin's performance as thoughts formed in his heart. Next battle, on the number 11 dueling platform, Feng Lin vs. Feng Jin. Feng Lin walked over. Feng Lin, you, this time, his opponent was a burly fellow and was preparing to say something. Bzz. The air rippled as a powerful wave of mental energy controlled his thoughts. At the next moment, this burly individual had a blank look on his face and lifted his hand while saying, I concede. Feng Lin walked down the dueling platform, not saying anything from the start to the end. Next, there was nothing that could stop him. 12 seconds. 11 seconds. 14 seconds. Feng Lin's mental energy was vast and mighty, tyrannical to the extreme. He didn't care who his opponent was, he always settled the fight within 15 seconds with no exceptions. Before this, the crowd still had expressions of interest as they observed Feng Lin's performance. But now, all the excitement had faded away. Although Feng Lin's performance was shocking, the way his opponents lost was always the same. Was there still any meaning to watch him? If they didn't know that this ranking competition would affect individuals' glory and their future status in the clan, many people would even feel that those losers were all in cahoots with Feng Lin and had lost to him intentionally. They wanted to see Feng Lin's true strength. There was no meaning to watch him abuse the weak. It was truly lonely to be invincible. It wasn't that he was too powerful, but in this huge clan, there didn't seem to be even a single one that could fight. After experiencing the various battles on Mars and the life-and-death fight with the Titan, this ranking competition was simply insignificant in comparison. There was no challenge at all. After winning for a total of 12 rounds straight, Feng Lin finally met an opponent whose vitality stats reached 9.6. On the surface, it looked that this person could at least be considered an opponent. This was a cultivator apprentice with a skinny frame. It was already very rare for his vitality stats to reach 9.6. As long as his genes evolved, he would be able to instantly become an interstellar cultivator. At the instant he saw Feng Lin, it was like he was facing against his greatest enemy. He didn't waste time talking crap and immediately took up a defensive position. Coiling snake style. His body instantly turned soft and flexible, as though he had no bones. He had inherited the coiling snake gene that was inherited by many through the generations of the Feng clan and guarded himself tightly. Feng Lin's mental energy gushed forth, but he couldn't sense his opponent's thoughts at all. His opponent's biomagnetic field didn't have the slightest ripple at all. It was like his opponent was already dead. Seeing the defensive stance his opponent took, Feng Lin's interest stirred. Snakes were a type of creature that could enter hibernation, causing their consciousness to sink into a state of extremely deep sleep. It was very tough to hypnotize someone of this state. In any case, it can be considered pretty interesting. Feng Lin's lips curled up in a smile. Did this person think that he only knew how to use mental hypnosis? Wasn't this thinking too naive? Feng Lin lifted a finger and calmly spoke, "You are worthy enough to make me use a single finger." Chapter 144, Worthy enough to make me use a single finger. That skinny man had entered into a state akin to a snake in hibernation. Only a hazy consciousness remained for him to perceive the external world. After hearing Feng Lin's words, his heart was filled with anger. His consciousness was close to bursting forth, almost affecting his mental state. He hurriedly suppressed the thoughts in his heart. If his consciousness returned to normal, Feng Lin would have a chance to hypnotize him. Before these, he had seen how all of Feng Lin's opponents lost. He didn't wish to walk down the dueling platform like that, cutting such a sorry figure and throwing all his face. What a cunning brat. Is he intentionally saying that to make my concentration lapses? He was sure Feng Lin was doing this to disrupt his mental state. You are right, but I'm not lying. Feng Lin smiled as though he had sensed the thoughts of his opponent. One of his fingers waved to the left and right. To deal with you, I only need a finger. That's all to it. Arrogant. The skinny man coldly snorted. He was already approaching the limits of a cultivator apprentice and could be considered a little genius in his clan. He only needed one more step to become a real interstellar cultivator and was only inferior compared to people like Feng Li and Feng Jinpeng. He felt that even if Feng Lin was an interstellar cultivator, it was simply too arrogant for Feng Lin to think that he would be defeated by just a single finger. When he noticed Feng Lin's casual attitude, joy appeared in the heart of the skinny man. Let me make you pay a price for your carelessness today. From now on, I'll become the #1 genius in the clan who defeats an interstellar cultivator at the cultivator apprentice level. It was like he was already looking at the scene of him trampling over Feng Lin. Abruptly, glossy black scales that were tough and durable appeared all around his body. His palms pressed together and opened again repeatedly, like the maw of a giant snake, extending to the max width and chomping down as he rushed toward Feng Lin, wanting to devour Feng Lin whole. Snake artful hand. Chi. Since Feng Lin said he would only use a single finger, he naturally wouldn't use a second one. His finger was like a sword, arcing through the air, blocking the snake artful hand. What? The skinny man was shocked. He felt that a tiny finger of Feng Lin seemed to contain the weight of a heavy mountain that was impossible to move. Despite him using the entirety of his strength, he wasn't able to force Feng Lin's finger away. Feng Li, victory. Time taken, 35 seconds. Feng Jinpeng, victory. Time taken, 28 seconds. At this moment, the AI voices rang out from the different dueling platforms. Feng Lin had stared at his opponent who pitted against his finger, but when he heard the announcements, he involuntarily turned his head over. Up until now, the opponents he had encountered were truly too weak. If one didn't experience the vastness of space for themselves, they would never know how small Earth was. After Feng Lin's experience, his entire being seemed to have transformed. It was extremely hard to find someone who could contend against him in a small clan on the small planet of Earth. He hoped that when he encountered true geniuses of the clan like Feng Li and Feng Jinpeng, they would be able to give him some pressure. The determination to leave the solar system grew stronger in Feng Lin's heart. Although the solar system was the origin of humanity, because humans developed everywhere, the foundation of the solar system was gone and natural resources here was almost depleted. It had almost become a desolate land devoid of any resources. To humanity, it was just a symbol of where they started, there were no other purposes. The solar system naturally became the most backward space region in the interstellar space. Feng Lin, who possessed mythological knowledge and genetic equations, had a boundlessly bright future. To him, the solar system was truly way too tiny. Only the boundless starry skies would be the stage where he could display his true prowess. The scene before him right now could prove all of this. Once, his status was extremely low in his clan. But after he ventured elsewhere, his status rapidly rose up in a short time. Now that he had returned, he felt like this place was a kindergarten, and he was bullying kids. There was no pressure and it felt extremely boring. No sense of satisfaction at all. Upon seeing that Feng Lin was distracted in the middle of combat, the skinny man felt like he had suffered the greatest humiliation and instantly flew into a rage. Feng Lin was simply too arrogant. Dragon snake twined slaughter. His body was like a python, twisting and twinning as he rushed over, wanting to bind Feng Lin's movements. What? During his contemplation, Feng Lin felt a black shadow lunging toward him. He reacted by flicking his extended finger. The skinny man instantly screamed as his body was flung backward. He was blasted into the ground from the impact and laid there unmoving, just like a dead snake. Only now did Feng Lin come to his senses. Upon seeing the pitiful state his opponent was in, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "You're worthy of me using a single finger, and that's all to it." "That's all to it." What? He really defeated his opponent using the strength of a single finger? Earlier, when he insta-killed opponents with a single glance, everyone knew it was due to his mental hypnosis. But now that Feng Lin truly acted, everyone could clearly see his strength. Using a single finger to defeat somebody on the verge of becoming an interstellar cultivator? This Feng Lin shouldn't be someone so simple like an ordinary interstellar cultivator. He was definitely a powerful expert within those from the same realm. Seeing how tyrannical Feng Lin was, even the expressions of the clan's geniuses like Feng Li and Feng Jinpeng turned solemn. They were already viewing Feng Lin as their greatest opponent. AI? That demonically handsome young man seated beside the clan leader suddenly felt puzzled. It seemed that his judgment regarding Feng Lin was off. He felt that Feng Lin must have awakened the mental gene and should have been walking on the path of a spiritual cultivator. Yet, his body was strong to such a degree. This aspect was completely out of his predictions. Right now, he gradually started to get interested in Feng Lin. The clan leader had a face filled with joy. Another powerful genius had appeared in the clan, and the chance of someone passing the college exams to enter the interstellar university had just increased. What made his head ache was that after he looked through Feng Lin's growth record, he realized that from the time Feng Lin was young up until now, Feng Lin had never received any benefits from the clan before and had been bullied and suffered a lot. He also saw the conflict between Feng Lin and the head butler. Things were troublesome then. For such a genius, if he had no sense of belonging to the clan, it would be a huge loss to the Feng clan. He had to think of ideas to make up to Feng Lin. The clan leader glanced toward Feng Lin's parents and his younger siblings as a smile appeared on his aged face. He suddenly had an idea. With regards to the thoughts of the other clansmen, Feng Lin didn't care at all. For the next battles, he continuously dominated his opponent. He either suppressed them using mental energy or defeat them with a single finger. From the start up until now, no one was able to contend against him. This was the advantage of the stone monkey gene. If one was weaker than him, the attacks of his opponents would not affect at all. All techniques were useless, even if he stood there unmoving, they wouldn't be able to harm him. On the contrary, Feng Lin only needed to use a single finger or his mental energy, and he would be able to defeat them instantly. There was no pressure at all. Not only were the crowd speechless when they saw this, but Feng Lin himself found this to be extremely boring. Upon seeing Feng Lin displaying his prowess on the dueling platforms, no one could view him with contempt anymore. His parents were struck dumb. Was such a powerful son really born by them? Now, they even suspected that someone had swapped their child for this monstrous genius. On the other hand, Feng Cheng and Feng Xian had looks of pride on their faces. This image of their elder brother Feng Lin became incomparably tall and lofty in their hearts, becoming their idols. And right now on a dueling platform, Feng Lin once again encountered a new opponent, and this opponent piqued a little interest in him. After half a day, after crushing so many people, those remaining were no longer weaklings. This time around, his opponent was a true interstellar cultivator. His opponent's face was filled with cold cruelty, and he had fighting gloves equipped. It seemed as though he was a wrestler with an abundance of experience. His aura felt quite threatening, and his vitality stats were about 30+ points. For this opponent, Feng Lin could play around a little. If not, he would fall asleep from boredom. Without realizing it, the clan's ranking competition that had always been extremely intense changed completely when Feng Lin joined. Chapter 145, Domineering Suppression. 8th Dueling Platform, Feng Lin vs Feng Yu. The new combat list had appeared. Feng Lin walked toward the assigned dueling platform. From the start of the ranking competition to now, 16 rounds were already held. There were no weaklings among those who remained. This time, Feng Lin's opponent was another interstellar cultivator with vitality stats over 30. However, despite his muscular physique, he had a face filled with trepidation and solemnness when he was facing Feng Lin. He could feel a great pressure from Feng Lin bearing down on him. This was his instinct as a cultivator, which allowed him to faintly sense the suppression due to a great disparity in vitality stats. No matter what he did, he couldn't relax. However, as an interstellar cultivator, how would he shy away from a battle? Feng Yu directly stared at Feng Lin as he spoke. Feng Lin, you are very strong. Unimaginably powerful. However, I will defeat you. Sure. Feng Lin smiled and nodded. He could sense the vigorous battle intent from this opponent. Only with this would things be interesting. Shaking the mountain. Feng Yun stomped on the ground as he charged forward, transforming into a blurred shadow that instantly closed in. His fists were like hammers that wanted to crush everything before him. His punch force broke the air, causing a thunderous boom with an astonishing aura. Bzz. The space suddenly trembled. The center of Feng Lin's brows flashed with a silver light as mental energy ripples instantly gushed forth. However, it felt as though it had slammed into a steel board. Feng Lin wasn't able to hypnotize this opponent. Feng Yu's eyes were still clear. Moreover, his heart contained an unshakable conviction and his will was like iron. This was the reason why it was extremely difficult to shake his mental state. Things were truly getting more and more interesting. Feng Lin couldn't help but smile. Although his mental gene was strengthened to the max, it was after all only a basic tier gene. The disparity in tier made it tough to affect true interstellar cultivators. It was only possible if his mental gene evolved into a higher grade spiritual type gene. Since the mental hypnosis was unable to work, this meant that other abilities granted by basic genes were also useless. Seems like I have to reveal some of my true capabilities. Feng Lin wasn't shocked, but was joyful instead. From the start up until now, all of his opponents crumbled before his mental hypnosis. Things were truly too boring. Now, there was finally an interesting opponent. But how much excitement would this opponent be able to generate? He would only know after they exchanged blows. Staring at the ferocious punch of his opponent, Feng Lin didn't mind it at all. One of his hands formed into the shape of a palm as he casually swiped it over. The skin of his palm had the characteristic of jade, emitting a faint luster of light. This seemingly ordinary-looking palm struck out with a speed that was not slow and not quick. It was as though it had transformed into a large net that blocked the variations of his opponent's punch. It gave off a calm and immensely wondrous feeling. Pa! With a light pat, all the ferocious waves of energy in the air calmed. Feng Yu's immense strength behind his punch was completely dissipated by this single palm strike. Eh? The demonically handsome young man surveyed Feng Lin's transformation. Is he finally going to display his true strength? Even his body is turning into a jade-like substance. What gene is that? A body-strengthening type gene? What are his other abilities? A look of interest appeared on his face as he stared at Feng Lin. What? Feng Yu was shocked. How could his punch that incorporated the entirety of his strength was so easily blocked by his opponent? Since his attack had failed, he naturally desired to retreat. Feng Lin put on a smile that was not a smile on his face. He reversed his palm and grabbed out, holding on to both Feng Yu's fists, not letting him retreat. Feng Yu's countenance turned red as he exerted all his strength, doing his best to struggle free. However, he soon discovered that Feng Lin's strength was extremely startling. His palm was like an iron hoop that tightly locked his both hands, not allowing him to struggle free. This Feng Lin looks so weak and skinny. Why does he have such great strength? Could he have awakened a body-strengthening type gene? During combat, despite the questions in his heart, how could he have time to ponder them? Despite being at a disadvantage, this Feng Yu had rich combat experience. With a twist of his body, his feet stomped the ground as he leaped up into the air. He then unleashed a chain of kicks, aiming for Feng Lin's chest. Right now, Feng Lin could only release his grasp. His palms acted like a palm leaf fan and created an airtight defense before him, blocking all the kicks from Feng Yu. Collapsing the mountain. Feng Yu escaped his predicament. Now that his hands were free, he instantly placed them before his chest and portrayed the tyrant-hitting cauldron fist stance. His fists seemed capable of collapsing mountains and launching out a storm of punches. Feng Lin's palm drew a circle before his chest, revealing no flaws in his defense, completely blocking them all. AI? He suddenly felt that something was wrong. A look of puzzlement flashed on his face. This Feng Yu was powerful. As his fists continued launching attacks, his punches only grew heavier and heavier. After 10 punches, his punch force was already 3 times stronger than the first punch. Wasn't this a little too illogical? When a human's strength reached the limit, it would be extremely difficult even if one wanted to upgrade it by a little, let alone 3 times. Feng Yu's force in his punches grew even heavier. There seemed to be a rising trend to it. This person only has a vitality stats around 30. How is it possible that his strength is higher than mine? Feng Lin didn't believe this. The great disparity in vitality stats wasn't something that could be mitigated by this kind of explosive momentum attacks. Feng Lin blocked another punch. To his surprise, he discovered that the strength level of his opponent hadn't changed. It was the same as the beginning. However, the force in his punch became heavier and heavier. His fists were akin to iron hammers. At this moment, he sensed the ripples of an extremely familiar energy in the air. Gravity gene? Feng Lin remembered that this was a kind of high-grade primeval gene. It allowed the user to control the formless gravity to suppress others or directly increasing his might, reinforcing his attacks. Such an effect was truly not bad. Clearly, Feng Yu was using large amounts of gravity power to reinforce his punches. Every time he punched out, his fists would be like huge hammers smashing their way toward Feng Lin. The more gravity he used, the heavier his punches would naturally be. After discovering the truth, Feng Lin no longer had any interest to waste time. His hands instantly formed gestures. Flipping sky hammer imprint. Both of his hands were like hammers from the legends as they smashed downward. Despite Feng Yu being as immovable as a mountain, he couldn't help being knocked aside. Although Feng Yu's punches were heavy, the strength used to unleash them remained the same. How could he resist attacks that exceeded his strength by 3 times? With just a light block, Feng Yu's entire person was flung through the air and slammed onto the ground below the dueling platform. Feng Lin, victory. Time taken, 1 minute. The monitoring AI announced the result. What? Even Feng Yu has lost? Feng Yu's vitality stats is at 32.6, but to think that he could only persist for 1 minute. That last move used by Feng Lin seemed extremely profound. What kind of martial arts is that? Everyone couldn't help but feel a sense of dissatisfaction. It wasn't easy for them to finally see Feng Yu act. But how could the battle end so quickly? His opponent was completely suppressed by him, and Feng Lin's capabilities were only revealed slightly. That wondrous move he had used was only for a split second, thus, it was tough to see clearly what its origins were. Feng Lin slowly walked down the platform and cast his gaze at the surroundings. He discovered that only about 40 people were remaining in the ranking competition, with the vast majority of them being interstellar cultivators. But those who could truly pose the slightest threat to him were only Feng Li, Feng Jinpeng, and a few other geniuses of the clan that were on their levels. But then again, they would only be able to pose the slightest threat to him. If he continued fighting like this, how long would it take before the competition was concluded? Feng Lin was growing impatient. His brows twitched as he tried to think of a simple, effective, and better idea.